Hello, I'm Skye Taylor and welcome to Tips and Tricks number 20. Today we're going to talk about textures again. There's so many things we can do just talking about textures. It's really unlimited. And through the series of tips and tricks, I'll give you some ideas on different types of textures that I use. Now, you have to always keep your eyes open to repurpose things. Let me give you an example. What would be a great texture? And it was just something that happened by accident. My wife told me to get some pots out of the cabinet, and what happened was when I pulled the pots out, I knocked over one of these glass lids. Have you ever seen one shatter? It's not pretty, and I got yelled at. But what happened when cleaning it up, I ended up with a bunch of little glass particles that were not sharp. It like cracked in like diamond layers. It's like totally incredible. So what did I do? I decided, well, I'm going to save these and put them on my art. I'll use them as texture. It's incredible. It's just incredible. And they definitely are not sharp. So that was kind of neat. So I got a bag full of things that I can use. Now, as an artist, let me put this over to the side. As an artist, you always want to keep your eyes open, and it's a good idea to save a box of just stuff to maybe use in the future on your paintings. An example would be, let me bring my little box up here of stuff. Water bottle caps. You can use them on down the road, maybe to create different textures on your paintings, and painting over them or putting our plaster over them. You can be surprised what you can do with these. You should save some of these, repurpose stuff. Another thing that makes great textures is sand. We're going to show you all sorts of tips and tricks later on down the road to how to do sand pictures and how to incorporate this into a painting. But I'm just showing you right now some of the things that I have in my arsenal. You know what this is? This is crushed eggshells. Now what you would do is you would take any eggshells after you've used the eggs, and you have to make sure that the skin comes out of the shells. And then you just crunch them up. And this makes it an interesting texture, and we'll show you how to do that later on in another video. Also at my dollar store I found rocks. Now I could glue rocks on and make other different types of pictures, different types of textured pictures, although these are a little bit on the heavy side and you would use them sparsely. Okay, let's see what else I found. Here's black sand that I use. Really cool. Okay, we covered bottle caps. At the dollar store I found a bunch of little plastic numbers and little dies that maybe I can use as imprints in some of the textured paintings that I'm going to do on down in the future. And we'll show you what to do with these too. But just by keeping your eyes open, repurposing things, it's just incredible. Now, you don't have to you could do two things. You could do a regular abstract painting and create spots of texture, or you could do a complete 3D painting with nothing but different types of textures. It's just limited by your imagination. Keep your eyes open and always look, because you never know what you're going to find that would be beneficial. Also, little pieces of wood, you can put on and create different shapes, and you paint over them and plaster over them and make all sorts of different textures. Keep your eyes open. You're creative. You're an artist. But today we're going to do something completely different. We're going to do, excuse my reach here. We're going to do textures with pistachio nut shells. Yeah, makes great textures. There's a story behind this. I'll visit my friend in Milwaukee, and when I go there, because of the city, he knows the city best, so he drives. Well, my wife always buys him a bag of pistachio nuts, and that's the worst thing. I mean, he'll throw these things everywhere. They're all over our car. So I started picking them up, and I got a pile of them, and I figured, hey, I'll repurpose them. And told my wife, don't buy him pistachio nuts anymore. I've got enough. So we're going to do a quick demonstration with this, and you can do almost anything, but this will give you an idea of creating special types of textures with repurposed stuff. Okay, you're going to need some type of a glue, and I highly recommend Aleene's Tacky Glue. Or you could use Mod Podge, that works too. Elmer's glue isn't quite as good as Aleene's. Aleene's is a little thicker glue. So, I mean, I would highly suggest if you can possibly get that, this is what works always best. This is what I always use to glue everything down. Never had a problem with this glue. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put some down on the canvas. Now, I'm not going for any composition, folks. This is just to show you a demonstration and a different technique. Well, we're going to leave it right there like that, and we are going to spread it. I've got a palette knife and I'm spreading it. So basically what we're doing is we're just going to show you texture, and we're not going to create an actual picture here. But if you're doing an abstract, you might want to incorporate some of these texture techniques in your abstract painting. It can really make a difference. So it's having a little trouble because it's a little thick. There you go. That'll work. That should be enough to get us through. And I'm going to spread this out all over the canvas, just like this. There you go. Okay. And what I'm going to do now, when I'm laying down the actual pistachio nut shells, I'm going to speed up the video because you don't need to sit and watch me struggle through every nut as I try to put it on the canvas. You'll get the idea. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to, oops, little klutzy here. I'm as bad as my friend who does it in the car. Excuse my hand right here. Okay. Now you're going to want to pat them down to make sure that they're in pretty good, and you're going to want to scrape off any of the glue that might be over the sides. I think that's it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to let this dry, probably overnight, and we'll come back and then we'll do the next step. Okay, I let this dry overnight, and it kind of reminds me of a bunch of bald businessmen in a crowded elevator getting ready for a convention. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to move this guy out of the way, and we're going to bring in our palette. Next, we're going to put some gel medium down, just like that. Then we're going to use our Mars Black and squirt some in there. There you go. That should be enough right there. And we're going to mix it up. Now, the reason why you want to use gel medium, like I've said in the past, it really binds stuff. Gel medium is almost like a clear plastic. So when you mix it with the acrylic paint, it's like putting a plastic coat over whatever you're putting it on. So this makes it extra, extra, extra tough and seals everything. Okay, we got that mixed up. There you go, that should do it. And then we're going to, let's move this out of the way, we're going to bring in our bald men. And we're going to get a brush loaded with black, and we're going to cover every nook and cranny. Okay, next thing we're going to do is let this dry. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush a final coat of metallic on there. Copper penny metallic. Now I got this at Menards, but you could probably get it at Home Depot or Lowe's. You got to check around, or maybe even online. But you can put any color over the top that you want, but this is what I chose. So let me open this guy up. Now what I'm going to be using is a 1-inch brush, the boar bristle brush that you can get at Walmart for under 50 cents. And what you do is you dip lightly into it, just get enough on the ends, just like this. Okay, you're going to want to make sure that you have paint on your brush, and you want it on the side of the brush, because what you're going to do is skim over it with the flat part of the brush. Real lightly. Just like that. Maybe turn it over, get a little more on this side. And you just basically want to put enough on your brush to do one time, because you don't need to put any more on. And just keep going over it. Go light at first, add a little bit more pressure as you go. Turn it different ways. And look at that cool texture. Now you can, like I said, you can use any color you want, and you don't have to be restricted to using just the pistachio nuts either. You could use anything you want, anything to lay down texture. And you might want to do this with a little spot on your painting to create a different look. But look how cool that looks. And as long as you keep your brush flat, you're not going to mess it up, because it's going to ride over all the dark areas in between. You're not touching them. So you're just basically just riding over the top. And there you go, you have it, and that's it. Well, there you have it. That was my tips and tricks project. And I hope that it inspired you. Here it is right here. I hope that it inspired you to go on and try something different. Now, you can do about anything you want. You can put anything you want on this canvas. As an artist, you always have to be asking yourself, what if? What if I try this? What if I try that? Always keep an open mind. Keep your eyes open, mind open, and be very creative. Now, I want to tell you something, and I've told you before, never overlook garage sales or resale shops. Today I went to a resale store, and guess what I found, folks? I found 2 canvases that somebody painted on that I could easily probably use for projects here. I could paint over them and, use them for demonstration projects. And you could see that the dollar label, got them for $1 a piece. The label's still on them. But by going to garage sales, what happens is that sometimes people will start projects they never ever finish. And it could be your plus. You never know what you're going to find or what kind of deals. And if you have family that do garage sales, that go to different garage sales, tell them to keep your eyes open for any paints or any supplies. And what they could do is use their cell phone and take a picture of it and send it to you for your approval. And that's the way to do it. Get your scouts out there. You never know what they're going to find for you. You can save a lot of bucks by being creative and thinking outside the box. Well, thank you very much for watching my video. And if you like it, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. We'll see you next Sunday on the next Tips and Tricks. Talk to you soon. Bye.